17 tons of rotting apple pulp hit Mara Ellison's Pear orchard before sunrise. The pile steamed in 23-degree air. Her lender had given her until harvest to prove the farm could still carry itself. And from the county road, the scene looked less like a rescue than a burial. 3 mornings later, a thin black curve appeared through the snow. Everything around it was frozen. That strip was not. Mara followed it between the weakest trees, pushed a shovel into the thawed earth, and found the first clue to a problem that had been hidden under the orchard for more than a decade. Mara was 27 when she took over the 34-acre pear farm east of the Cascades. Her father had spent most of his working life there. By the time his health forced him out of the field, the orchard was already sliding backward. The decline did not make sense. The irrigation pump held pressure. The main lines had been flushed. Leaf samples did not show one clean deficiency. The worst trees were not all the oldest trees, and they were not grouped by variety. Some healthy rows stood beside rows with short shoots, pale leaves, and bark that seemed to age too quickly. Every spring, Mara replaced emitters, adjusted irrigation sets, pruned harder, pruned lighter, added compost where the soil looked tired, and watched the same patchwork return. The northern middle of the orchard was worst. After rain, the surface looked normal within a day. By summer, the ground there could even appear dry. But those trees carried fewer leaves, set less fruit, and colored early in late August as if autumn had arrived only for them. Her father had blamed a run of bad seasons. A consultant had blamed root disease. A neighboring grower had told her the block was simply old. Mara believed pieces of all 3 explanations. She just could not make any of them explain the shape of the damage. That shape mattered because the bank did not lend against explanations. It lent against crop history. Mara had started mapping the decline the previous season. She printed an aerial photo of the orchard and colored each row by what she could actually observe: weak shoot growth, early leaf color, small fruit, dead scaffold limbs, or normal vigor. She expected the marks to follow age or irrigation zones. They did neither. The bad trees formed a broad crescent through several planting years and crossed 2 irrigation sets. She checked pressure at the far ends of the lines before dawn, when no other water was running. She dug beside emitters after long irrigation cycles. She replaced a regulator that was slightly out of range and repaired a leak near the pump. None of it changed the crescent. Then she started paying attention after winter rain. Surface puddles vanished quickly because the orchard sat on a gentle slope. That had always reassured her. But when she pushed an auger deeper into the weak rows, the lower soil sometimes came up slick and cold, long after the top few inches looked dry. In stronger rows, the same depth was damp but crumbly. She wrote that difference down without knowing what to call it. The notebook was full of observations that did not yet make a diagnosis. What it gave her was a pattern she could compare against anything new. The previous harvest had barely covered payroll, fuel, chemicals, and packing charges. Mara had refinanced one operating note and delayed replacing a failing sprayer pump. If the next crop came in light again, she would have to remove trees she could not afford to replant. Then, in February, a juice processor 12 miles away called the Growers Cooperative. A storm had damaged the processor's outdoor compost pad. They needed to move several loads of apple pomace quickly. Skins, seeds, stems, and crushed pulp left after pressing. It was not hazardous. It was simply wet, heavy, acidic-smelling organic material that had already begun to ferment. Most growers said no. Mara asked what it would cost. Nothing. If she took a full trailer. She knew pomace was not magic fertilizer. Used too thick, it could mat, sour, attract flies, or create runoff. But the orchard's organic matter was low, and she had empty rows between trees where a thin winter application could be worked into the surface later. Free material and free delivery were difficult to ignore. So she agreed. Before the load arrived, she called an extension office to confirm the basic handling rules and then marked out where she would not spread it. No piles against trunks, no material in the drainage swale, no thick layer where runoff could carry it toward the road. She planned to use it as a winter surface amendment, then incorporate only what had broken down safely. The precautions did not make the decision comfortable. Pomace is mostly water when fresh. A full trailer was heavy enough to rut soft ground, and fermentation could consume oxygen inside a thick mat. Mara chose the frozen morning on purpose, so the delivery truck would not tear up the orchard floor. She also knew that if the experiment made the block worse, she would own that mistake. The driver arrived before daylight, because the processor wanted the trailer back by morning. He opened the gate, and a dark mass of fruit waste folded onto the frozen soil in slow, steaming slabs. By breakfast, 2 neighboring growers had stopped their pickups along the road. One stared at the pile and shook his head. "That's a lot of rot to put on borrowed land." Mara kept spreading the material with the loader. The comment stayed with her because it was accurate in 2 different ways. The orchard was mortgaged, and the pomace did smell rotten. For 2 days, she spread it in thin bands across the weakest section, never against the trunks. Then a cold front came down overnight. Temperatures dropped hard enough to crust the orchard white. The next morning, Mara expected the pomace itself to remain warmer than bare ground. What she did not expect was the pattern. Across one set of rows, the snow had melted in a narrow curve that continued beyond the pomace, crossed beneath the tractor lane, and bent toward the road. It looked almost drawn. Mara walked the line with a soil thermometer and the small field notebook she used for irrigation times. The surface temperature changed only slightly. Moisture changed much more. Every few yards along the curve, soil 4 to 6 inches down was wetter than soil on either side. She marked each spot with orange survey flags. By noon, the flags formed a crooked path through the orchard. The next day, she dug at the first flag. 16 inches down, her shovel hit something hard. Not rock, clay. She widened the hole and uncovered the rounded top of an old drainage tile, the kind installed in short sections before plastic pipe became common. Mara had never seen that line on the irrigation maps. She dug another hole 20 feet away. The same tile was there. A third hole found it again. The strange thaw line was following a buried drain. Mara spent the rest of that afternoon opening small test windows along the thawed curve. Every 20 or 30 feet, the shovel found clay again. 2 smaller branches angled into a larger line that continued downhill beneath the weakest part of the orchard. She used a measuring wheel and survey flags to extend the direction beyond the last hole. The line pointed toward the county road. At the ditch, she found no outlet, no exposed pipe, no old head wall, no wet stain in the grass, only the raised gravel shoulder of a road that had been widened years earlier. Mara did not know when the tile had been installed. Her father had never mentioned it, and nothing on the irrigation plan showed it. All she knew was that a buried drainage system existed beneath the exact part of the orchard she had been struggling to explain. The next morning, she carried 1 broken clay fragment to the local irrigation supply counter. The man behind the desk turned it over in his hand and gave her a phone number. "If anybody can tell you what that old stuff is doing," he said, "call Cal Rayner." The next morning, Mara called Cal Rayner. Cal had installed orchard drainage systems for nearly 40 years before retiring. He was 78 now and answered the phone as if every call interrupted something more important. Mara described the tile. He asked 3 questions. How deep? Which direction? Was there water inside it? Mara had not checked. "Then you don't know what you found," Cal said. He arrived that afternoon in a pickup with a shovel, a probing rod, and no interest in the pomace. He studied the line of flags, then pushed the rod into the soil at several points. "Your trees are telling you one story," he said. "Your ground is telling you another." Mara pointed toward the road. "The old map shows an outlet there." Cal nodded. "Then start by proving whether the line can empty." They uncovered a short section of tile near the lowest point in the orchard. The clay was intact. When Mara removed one broken joint to inspect the inside, black water pushed through the gap. At first it seeped, then it surged. The trench filled around their boots. Mara jumped back and reached for a shovel to widen the escape path. "Leave it," Cal snapped. She froze. Water continued rising until it stood nearly level with the top of the old tile. The drain was not empty, it was full. Mara had spent weeks worrying that the weak rows were not getting enough water. Now she was standing in proof that water had nowhere to go. That discovery changed the problem. It also led Mara into her first serious mistake. Convinced she had found a simple blockage, she rented a powered drain snake and tried to clear the line from the orchard side. For 20 minutes, the cable advanced. Then it stopped. She forced it. The machine bucked. The cable twisted. A tile joint cracked beneath the trench, and muddy water burst into the opening faster than before. By the time Mara shut the machine down, the trench had collapsed on one side, and a rear tractor tire had sunk almost to the rim. Nothing had been fixed. She had only opened another place for trapped water to surface. Cal watched her drag boards beneath the tire. He did not say she had been impatient. He did not need to. "A clog is one thing," he said. "A missing outlet is another." That evening, Mara cut a narrow root sample from a declining pear tree near the flooded trench, and another from a stronger row uphill. The difference was visible without a laboratory. Fine roots from the stronger row were pale and firm. The wet row roots were sparse, darkened in places, and carried the sour smell of soil that stayed saturated too long. The trees had not been drowning at the surface. They had been drowning underneath it. The next problem was proving why. Cal came back 2 days later with a tool Mara had never used. A flexible fiberglass push rod with a small battery transmitter fixed near the tip. Drain contractors used the transmitter as a locator when they needed to follow a buried line without opening the entire field. Starting from the broken joint in Mara's trench, she fed the rod downhill through the clay main, a few feet at a time. Cal walked above the ground, carrying a receiver that chirped when it passed over the transmitter. The first signal appeared exactly where their probe holes suggested it should. Mara planted a flag. She pushed another 10 feet. Cal found the signal again. Another flag. They repeated the process until a clean line of markers crossed the weak crescent, passed the final pear row, and reached the edge of the county shoulder. Then the pushrod stopped. Mara backed it up and tried again. Same distance. Cal swept the receiver in a wide arc. The transmitter was still there, several feet inside the road right-of-way, but it would go no farther toward the ditch. That did not prove what had stopped it. Old clay could collapse on its own. Roots could invade a joint. Farm traffic could crush a shallow section. But now Mara knew where the problem concentrated. She added another test. A simple ruler went into the open trench. After each rain, she photographed the water level at the same times. A half-inch of rain could raise the trapped line within hours. Then, even after the sky cleared and the orchard surface looked almost dry, the buried water stayed high for more than a day. That delay fit the tree damage better than any irrigation theory had. Pear roots can tolerate wet soil for a time, but repeated saturation pushes air out of the pore spaces around fine roots. The injury may appear later as weak growth, poor nutrient uptake, dieback, and fruit that never sizes normally. The orchard had been showing summer symptoms of a winter problem. Mara took the locator trace, the water level photographs, the root samples, and her crop map to the county public works office. That was when the road history became relevant. The shoulder beside her orchard had been widened 11 years earlier. The project included ditch grading, additional compacted base, and a road drain crossing. The plan set showed the public drainage work clearly. It did not show Mara's private clay line. There was no note ordering anyone to block it. There was no note preserving it either. The county engineer assigned to the question, Elena Ruiz, studied Mara's line of survey measurements and then pulled the road plan over them. The last locator signal sat directly beneath the widened shoulder. Elena did not call that proof. "It tells us where to look," she said. "It doesn't tell us what happened there." Mara understood the caution. A failing orchard was not evidence of county fault, and an old private drain could disappear for ordinary reasons. If she wanted public crews to disturb a maintained road shoulder, she needed a physical answer. For another week, cold rain moved through the valley. Mara kept measuring. The tile rose fast and emptied slowly. The pomace bands changed too. On the saturated ground, they matted into dark, wet sheets. On better drained ground, they stayed looser as they broke down. The waste that neighbors had mocked was not curing the orchard. It was making the hidden pattern easier to see. Cal put it more plainly. "That stuff didn't save your trees," he said. "It made the lie easier to see." Mara wrote the sentence in her notebook, then crossed it out. She had better things than a sentence. She had a physical line traced to the road. She had water-level behavior after storms. She had damaged roots from the wet crescent. And she had crop records showing that the same shape had weakened year after year. When Elena returned with a county maintenance supervisor, Mara walked them from the trench to the last locator flag, instead of making a speech. The supervisor stood over the mark and looked toward the ditch. "If the old line kept its grade," he said, "the outlet should be on the other side of this shoulder." There was still nothing visible there. Elena looked at the road plan, then at the flag. "One test hole," she said. "We find out what is actually under us." The county approved a narrow test excavation at the edge of the right-of-way. Before the bucket touched soil, Elena had the road crew locate utilities and set a temporary water control berm in the ditch. Mara signed an access form for the section on her side. No one treated the test as a verdict. If the clay line turned out to be collapsed entirely on private land, the repair would be hers. That uncertainty mattered because Mara had already spent money on the failed drain snake attempt and the emergency trench work. She could not afford a long excavation that proved nothing. The excavator arrived on a gray morning. Mara stood outside the work zone with Cal while the operator peeled away sod, gravel, and compacted road base. 1 foot down, nothing. 2 feet, nothing. Then the bucket exposed broken orange clay. The orchard tile had been cut off beneath the road shoulder. A short surviving section ended against a wall of dense crushed rock and old fill. There was no functioning path to the ditch, no dramatic concrete plug, no hidden sabotage. Just an old private drain that had disappeared from a modern road plan and been buried by a project that did not know it was there. For 11 wet seasons, winter water had entered the orchard tile network and backed up behind that buried end. After storms, the northern middle rows sat with saturated subsoil. In summer, the surface dried and irrigation made the orchard look like it had the opposite problem. The pattern had been easy to misread because the damage happened months before the symptoms became obvious. The road had not poisoned the trees. The pomace had not healed them. The mechanism was simpler and slower. Roots need both water and air. For years, those rows had been losing the second one. The county agreed to install a protected outlet beneath the shoulder and reconnect the old orchard main to the roadside ditch. The repair plan was deliberately simple. The road crew would sleeve the crossing, so traffic loads could not crush it. protect the ditch outlet from erosion, and leave an accessible end that could be inspected in the future. On the orchard side, Mara and Cal replaced the worst clay section with compatible drain pipe, while keeping the remaining branches that still functioned. They did not redesign the entire farm. They restored one missing path and repaired what the evidence showed was broken. Mara paid to repair the broken tile inside her property and replace 2 collapsed branches farther uphill. That cost mattered. The public repair did not erase the private work. Neither did it bring dead roots back to life. When the outlet was opened, water began running almost immediately, not as a dramatic flood, as a steady brown stream. It carried silt for most of the first day, then cleared. After the next rain, Mara checked the trench every few hours. The tile rose, flowed, and then dropped. By the following morning, the water level was below the opening. That had not happened before. She dug test holes in 3 rows. The soil was moist, but it no longer smelled sour. A week later, she dug again. Air spaces had returned to the crumb structure near the repaired line. New white root tips appeared on several trees that had looked stalled through winter. Cal warned her not to celebrate too early. "Drainage gives a tree a chance," he said. "It doesn't give it back the years it lost." He was right. 63 trees in the lowest section had declined too far. Mara marked them for removal. Cutting them out hurt more after the cause was known. Before, a dead tree had felt like proof that the orchard was failing for reasons she could not control. Now each removal came with a different kind of frustration. If the problem had been recognized earlier, some might have survived. But the limitation also kept the repair honest. The outlet was not a miracle. It was maintenance that should have existed all along. Spring came slowly that year. The recovering rows did not explode into impossible bloom. Some trees carried light clusters. Some had bare scaffolds where weak wood had been removed. The orchard still looked uneven. But one difference was hard to miss. After rain, the northern ground no longer stayed cold and heavy for days. Bud development across the damaged crescent began to match the rows around it. When blossoms opened, they opened across a wider band instead of leaving the wettest rows behind. And with those blossoms came ordinary pollinators. Honeybees from rented hives, native bees from the field margins, flies and other insects moving through the flowers. No swarm filled the sky. No one along the road stopped traffic. The proof was quieter. The trees were participating in spring again. By early summer, Mara had another measurement. Shoot growth on the surviving trees in the repaired area was stronger and more even than the previous season. Fruit set was still lighter than the healthiest block, but it no longer collapsed in the same crescent. She kept thinning conservatively because the recovering trees could not carry a heavy crop without stress. That restraint cost her boxes in the short term. It also kept the trees from being asked to prove too much, too soon. Elena returned in June to inspect the roadside outlet. The county had reviewed several older road projects after finding Mara's buried line. Most were fine. 2 other agricultural properties had private drains crossing public right-of-way that were missed from current maps. The county added a field check to future shoulder work in that district. Before burying an unidentified pipe, crews had to determine where it came from and where it went. It was a small procedural change. For Mara, that made it more meaningful. No villain had been exposed. No courtroom speech had been required. A system had simply failed to notice something old, private, and underground until the cost appeared in living trees. The repair changed the rule from, if it isn't on our plan, it isn't our problem, to a more practical question. What is this connected to? Harvest arrived with no miracle either. Mara kept the comparison conservative. She did not count replacement trees when she judged the repaired block, and she did not compare it with the best ground on the farm. She compared surviving trees against their own previous performance and against nearby rows of similar age. Some differences were modest. A few trees barely changed. The strongest response came from trees that had been stressed, but still carried enough living root to recover once the soil drained. That uneven response was useful. It showed the repair had removed a pressure. It had not erased age, disease, pruning history, or every other variable in an orchard. The orchard still had empty spaces where 63 trees had been removed. Mara still had debt. The packing shed still needed roof work, and the sprayer pump she had postponed finally failed in August. But the surviving northern rows carried cleaner foliage into September. Fruit size was more even. The pack-out was strong enough for Mara to cover operating costs without increasing the seasonal note. That was enough to keep the farm hers for another year. The following winter, the juice processor called again. They had another load of pomace available. Mara said yes. This time, no one came to the road to watch. She spread a smaller amount in measured bands around the replacement rows, leaving clear space at the trunks and keeping it away from drainage openings. She knew what the material could do and what it could not. It could add organic matter. It could hold moisture near the surface. It could feed soil life as it broke down. And once by accident it had made an invisible water problem visible enough to follow. Mara finished the last row near dusk and shut down the tractor. The orchard settled into winter quiet. At the road, beneath the grass where no outlet had been visible the year before, a narrow stream of clear water kept moving through the ditch.